Oh, thokozani Ndlondlo, thokozani nina bendlu enkulu. Namhlanje today is the 16th of December. The day before 94 it was called Dingan's Day. Kepha today it's called Reconciliation Day. So thina singabantu abamnyama, or we as black people, we feel the pain, that most of our heroic days have to be neutralized in this manner. Because when you say Dingan's Day, you are then celebrating victory of an African, a kingdom that defeated, the Afrikaners, the occupying forces. So now, when you call it a Reconciliation Day, you are then neutralizing and you are actually rubbing off history. You distort history. Why? Because black people should be celebrating this day as victory over the occupying forces. Not ukuthi manje, the day must be turned into something else that is not. And the most, painful thing I witness on TV today, there's a celebration because December 16th, it's when Udingane, killed, the Afrikaners, in one of his crawls. Esigodlweni sakhe uDingane wababizela esigodlweni labantu bangena esibayeni, wathi esibayeni akungenwa nezibhamu. So these people were actually forced to leave their arms outside of the kraal. They were called in to say that there's a celebration, the king wishes to have a meal with you. They went in there. That's when Udingane and his Amabuto attacked them. So that is victory for us, and this is what led to a battle of Engome, what is commonly known as the battle of Blood River. So today, as they are commemorating or whatever they are doing lapha Engome, you find that, there's division even there. The government was complaining that the Afrikaners, which is a generation of four trekkers that had occupied our country, four trekkers that, Udingane killed, they are celebrating victory. Lapha Engome, four trekkers, these Afrikaner people. And the government is complaining ukuthi labantu they are doing their own celebration on their own. Government, there's a fence that is dividing, two celebrations. On this side, Amabono. On this other side is the government people who are commemorating, and remembering all the warriors that fell on that day at Ngome. So, this, is very, very disturbing. The way, things have been changed. It's a very similar thing like what they did to neutralize, the heroic day of Utsietsi Mashinini. Instead of calling that day the 16th of, June, they should call it Tsietsi Day. Now they call it the Youth Day. So, Ingane, the children that are coming, after us, won't know that history. So it's very important for us to preserve, because as you know, the Republic of South Africa will fall. It's destined to fall. One day it will fall, and all these things would actually be restored. So let us be conscious, and know, these, histories, because they are very, very important for us. If you don't know history yako, you will then won't have the right direction in terms of projecting your own history, because you've got to learn from the past, so that the mistakes of the past are not repeated into the future. So the ruling government should actually stop neutralizing these heroic days for us, because this is what should still be motivating people to move forward with the struggle, because the struggle is not over. Umhlaba and the economy is not back in our hands. So there's no time for us to relax and think ukuthi it's uhuru. Umamleta washo, it's not yet uhuru. So the struggle continues, because now we are liberating ourselves spiritually first. That is why we do the work that we do at GEK, Great Empire of Kemet, and the ZMF, the Zinzi Mandela Foundation. We do this work so that we are able to actually prepare for a new future. Kokobejo, our ancestors are calling for this new future. The real unity of African people has to start in the spiritual side first, because we are spirit before we are physical or matter. So everything that should actually speak to that unity, we have to be united spiritually first. And this is what the campaign we've actually launched at GEK, so that everybody knows where they belong. Vis-a-vis the African calendar. Get the calendar for you to actually know and understand yourself. Uguti, at a spiritual level, at a metaphysical level, who you are. Because that is where we all connect, that is where we all unite. So it's very important for us to preserve some of these important days in history, so that each generation that follows us mustn't be cursing and saying, why did they do that, why did they do that, because they will question, as much as we are questioning now. The powers that be sees nothing wrong ukuthi basixube nje nezinto zabelungu. Because why banga lenduzi ba neutralize ama holidays afana ne Christmas, because Christmas on the southern hemisphere, it means nothing to us. It doesn't correlate with nature. They should start that to actually say those holidays are meaningless to people who are in the southern hemisphere. These are the days that should be replaced by days that are named by Africans, based on what happens in the environment, what happens in nature. That is how Africans are named these seasons and months. So we need to go back there, so that in future we are not in the dark as to how we actually move into the future. Remember, good spiritual unity of all black people in the world. This is what we are actually talking about. For us to actually practicalize that black unity, we have formed what is called the Kemet chat. The Kemet chat can be downloaded on our site, which is www.gekmovement.org. Go to that website. That is the home of all Africans in the world. This is the platform for all Africans to actually unite, so that we are able to actually have a discussion as to where did we lose our way, and how can we recover that. That platform is for only black people internationally, because that is what we need. We need to practicalize the unity. It has been forever elusive. Ever since Kwame Nkrumah spoke about unity, it has never been achieved. And if you project the future, unity can never be achieved by the current ruling political and economic system or structure of the continent. Wherever there are republics, a country that is a republic on the continent, that is a problem to us, because the republics, these are the this is the cancer that is showing black people, internally. So we need to heal ourselves from all this negativity which was brought by colonizers on the continent. Remember, the tried and tested governing system of the continent, ubukhosi, which is African royalty. So our unity must be based or be grounded by that African royalty. But at the top, or the main, a foundation of that African royalty must be the spiritual, unity of African people. We should unite at the spiritual level, because, all these material things have been tried on the continent. They are, the reason why we are in this mess that we are in as African people, because loko sibuswa abantu benyama, people, who care not, who don't care about, the spiritual matters. Remember, African people singabantu bomoya. Tina, we are spiritual people. And our leaders should be rooted in that, spiritual, philosophy of the continent. So if you think that you can unite Africa, based on what is happening. I mean, they've tried it. It's been hundreds of years, ever since, Ghana was, liberated, so-called liberated, because it wasn't liberated, because the queen remained at the top until now. So a true liberation of the continent, it's when we all Africans work towards uniting black people and also destroying these republics on the continent, so that we are able to actually enforce our own governing system, which is based on African royalty. Ubukhosi must actually return on the continent, because this is the center. Ubukhosi is our center. Royalty is our center. We need to go back, to that structure if we want to be normal again as African people. So I see again, please let us stop compromising too much, because that's how we lost the land. This compromise and also self-preservation. If they come to you and offer certain things, then you agree with them. That is why we are in this mess that we are in. So please, Africans, this is a new era. Our ancestors are calling upon us to actually fix our mindset, because we need to purify the mindset of all the residue, of a colonial, mindset. So this is the process. The process has begun. We are talking about a parallel system which must, rule the continent again. Remember that our ancestors ruled the world, based on their spiritual knowledge and power. So we want to return to that. Because umhlaba, children, have been ruling this world for all this time. It's about time that parents, the real parents of humanity, resume their position, so that everything is brought back to umthethokazi. Thokozani.